We'll get started in one more minute. Okay, it's now 6:35, so we can get started now. So for all of you who are on Zoom, if you can stay on mute, and if you do have questions, you can use the cool chat box. And then if anybody in the room has a question, I'll try to pause in between each section, give you time to ask, and I'll repeat it so that you guys on the computer can hear. So yeah, welcome to 2022's vendor meeting. I'm gonna try to keep this short. We only have a few new things to go over. So yeah, hopefully we'll be out of here by 8 or sooner, depending on how I feel.
Sure.
You know, we might keep you with Sydney and Ashley at the door. It might be turned into a lock-in for the people in the room. You can next slide. Okay, so what we're going to talk about, I have an important announcement, and it is that I am not pregnant. Last year at the meeting, I announced that I was pregnant, and so that is not the case this year, but I do have a really cool announcement. We have some market staff. We have a wonderful sponsor this year who they are going to do a quick presentation for us. We're going to do an overview of last year, just because last year was a phenomenal year for the market. And so we're going to take some time to brag on ourselves and talk about what an amazing job we did. This year we hosted a market at the Record in our off season. So we'll go over a little bit about that, talk about Saturday market operations, the changes taking place this year. And then we're going to start a Facebook group that we'll go over. And yeah, so that's kind of the overview for tonight. Next slide. Welcome, Ashley. That's the important announcement. She is not in the room right now because she is guarding the door. So the important announcement is that we have a new hire with DBI. When Ashley walks into the room, I'll make sure that we all turn around so we can wave at her. So Ashley's role is that she is going to be programming the square during the farmers market. So we have a beautiful space where we get to host special sponsorship activities like our dog days. We do the kids bike parade and trick-or-treating. But this year, I feel like since we're out of COVID, we have this opportunity where we can really activate the square more. And so Ashley's role is that she's going to be creating programs that we can have on the grass area of the square. And these can be kids activities, educational activities. I know a few vendors have asked about, I know our bee vendor wants to do a bee demonstration. Cafe 211 has talked about doing a pour over class. And so Ashley is going to be helping facilitate those conversations. So if you guys have any ideas that you, if you're a maker or a crafter and you want to do something and showcase more of what you guys are passionate about, let us know. I don't know if you guys remember, I think it was in 2020, we had the Momentary, they brought in Andrew, do you remember that? I can't remember what it was called, but it was a Louisiana.
Yeah, it was a drum line, I think, primarily, and then they kind of walked around and did a little bit of jazz. We may see a couple of those popping up this season as well.
Right. So we just want the farmers market. It's an amazing event, and I feel like we can continue to grow and add really cool activities. If you can see in this picture, see if I can move. Can I move that? I don't know. In this picture, we had Crystal Bridges came out, and there was they could paint on the side of that ORT bus, and that market. What are you doing, Andrew?
I don't know what I did. I hit a button. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, I can't.
Everybody close your eyes. My goodness. Okay. Sorry.
And we're done. The square was packed on that Saturday. This was our trick-or-treating event. And Crystal Bridges came out. They had the painting on the side of the ORT bus, the public transit bus. And that was such a fun activity for kids. And I mean, like, you can see that was Main Street, and it was like, it was insane. So we want to facilitate more of those partnerships. And that is what Ashley is going to be doing. She's still not in here, so that's okay. I put her in charge, her and Sydney in charge of the door. So next slide. Oh yeah, if you have any ideas, you can email Ashley. And her email address is also on the next slide. So yeah, our market staff, we are going to have Ashley, and then I found this really cute picture of Sydney, and there's a picture of me, which you can't see, and that's fine. You can see my face right here, right now. I could not find a picture of Michelle, so, but if you set up on Main Street, she is the gal who works in our DBI tent, and she is an awesome volunteer. So that's who is going to be running the market this year. I might not be there all the time during setup and tear down, just because I do have a cute little baby who I did not include any pictures of. I'm sorry to disappoint all my fans out there. So yeah, if Sydney, Ashley, and Michelle, they're going to be there in the morning. So if you have any questions about, Andrew, what are you doing?
Just keep going, you're fine.
If you're setting up and you're trying to find somebody, those are the people that you're going to be looking for if I'm not there. This is the farmers market phone number. And I said, always leave a message if you call, just because this is a Google phone number. And for some reason, like 75% of the phone calls that I get are not real people. It's just silence on the other end. Or somebody asking for Jason. And so a lot of the phone calls that I get are spam. So if you don't leave a message, it also doesn't show me any caller ID. So just make sure that you're always leaving a message when you call. Yay, Sydney and Ashley are in here now. Ashley, I introduced you to everybody. This is Ashley. Come say hi on the Zoom. You have fans on the computer too.
Hi, Zoom people.
So yeah, she's really excited to be doing this position, and I already broadcasted your contact information. So awesome. All right. We moved offices. Next slide. So we are now upstairs from our old office. If you want to visit us, there is this door that is on the other side of the Coca-Cola mural. It's unmarked right now. We're going to get some signage there. But if you open that door and you see a staircase, you're in the right place. You can walk up the stairs. There's a long hallway, and then this is our living room / workspace. But yeah, so if you walk into our old office, that is now 100% an art gallery. And if you ask them questions about the farmers market, they will not know the answers. But on Saturdays, you're still totally more than welcome to use that bathroom. You've been personally invited by me if you need to use the restroom in the gallery, or you can walk up our flight of stairs. And of course, the Walmart neighborhood market. So yeah, thanks, Andrew. That's my baby. And she's wearing an outfit that Sydney bought her. And that's so cute. At one of our events. So full circle, you guys. We support local. She looks just like her daddy. So we have a sponsor this year for our market. And we are really, really excited to be partnering with them. And they have a presentation here. Great. Jerry, how do you want to do this? Do you want to sit where I'm sitting so you can talk to the people on Zoom? Or do you want to use the microphone? Use the microphone.
Hello.
Huh? Oh, okay.
Hello.
Can you hear them on the Zoom?
No, they probably need to get close. Well, have them talk a little bit more.
Oh, sorry. My name is Jerry Sedone. I'm with
Can you hear them?
It'd be better if you can talk into the computer stuff,
Alex.
like you were.
Hello, good evening. My name is Alex.
Hey, can you guys talk closer to the computer? I'm sorry.
Close to computer.
Yeah.
You think
Yeah.
you can turn the computer stuff without losing the connection?
It will be like that. Okay, I moved here 10 months ago, originally from Ukraine. And my background is IT development, big data, artificial intelligence things. And with my family, we moved, as I said, 10 months ago. We had a number of challenges in shopping, which we will describe, Jerry will describe what the solution we found out, and we will deploy it soon.
The next slide. So we can go to the next slide.
Okay.
So really one of the things we know is that a lot of people today want to buy groceries locally and locally grown food, but they can't. So that they have a difficult time doing it because it's not always available. It's difficult to get. You have to go to the farmer's market on Saturday. It's super crowded. They turn around. You don't want to be in traffic, right? So we want to do this, and we really want to help you guys, the farmers, also the local folks, to get your products in more places, more quickly, and really save time and money for everybody. Next. So obviously that's why I mentioned a lot of people want to buy organic, but it's difficult. We know that at least 25% of shoppers in America are willing to pay more for locally grown food. Probably higher in Arkansas, especially in Northwest Arkansas. We think the number is more like 30%, right? So this is good for everybody in the room. There's people out there that want to buy your product. They just sometimes have a hard time getting it because it's just only on Saturday. They want to get on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, all every day of the week, right? So that's where we come in, and hopefully we can help everybody kind of get together and really help the local community. Next. So shop, obviously this is today's environment. A lot of people lose time, personal time that's precious to everybody, where you can spend time with your kids, your family. Instead, you go to multiple stores across the area to get all your grocery store, especially if you want products that are locally grown. Farmers Market, Harps, Walmart, etc. We want to solve that problem, or at least maybe not solve it, but help you make better choices, more conscious choices about your food and what you eat every day for your family and yourself. Next. Any questions so far? That makes sense? Okay. So we also know that if you go to the store and you start looking at products, be it organic, be it locally grown, there's a ton of stuff out there. There's a lot of different certification, non-GMO, organic, and some of it don't make any sense. Some of it are just basically greenwashing, trying to get people to buy products that may not even be good for you, or may be good for you, but it may not 100% really mean what it says. So people are bombarded with all kinds of information, and they don't know what to do. And they're like, I give up. I'm just going to buy my stuff and get out of the store, and it's too complicated. So that's where we want to come in and really help the local consumer and also the local producer trying to get together and really be whole. Next. So imagine you've got Google, you've got Booking.com, and as a grocery retailer. And also imagine communication with Alexa. So our goal is to really simplify the consumer experience by combining all your grocery needs, one place online, including local option and local source food. That's what we're here today. That's what we're sponsored to market. We want folks like you to participate and be able to get to those consumers that today may not come to the market, maybe in Bella Vista, maybe in Rogers. But they don't come to the market for multiple reasons. They're busy with their kids playing soccer. They think it's too crowded. They don't like crowds. We want to make them, that's your food available on our site. And say, guys, you don't have to do that. You can just come to us, we'll pick it up, and you can get local produce that are, in most cases, way better for you than the stuff at the big retail chain. And we think there's a big market out there for people to do that today in Northwest Arkansas. At the same time, we also want to save you money, save you time, and assist people in making better choices. We know a lot of people today make their choices based on money, based on how much time they have, and also what's available. We know that if we give them choices that are better for them, a lot of times they will actually buy better products for them. And in most cases, pay more money, but they're okay with it because they're making better choices. But in today's environment, like I said, it's difficult. I myself find myself looking at products in the grocery store, looking at the back of the label, looking at this, the vegetables. I'm like, okay, on the salt, on the sugar, is this good for me? It's not good for me. And we want to take all that pain away from people and make it easier and faster for people to shop. And at the same time, obviously, we help our planet. We make more sustainable choices, and our planet thanks us at the same time, right? So it's a win-win for everybody. Next. So we want you to stand out, and we want to help you compete against some of the big retailers that have lots of marketing budgets, that have lots of people to push their products. We want to be out there helping you guys. So the ways to do that is you can sign up on our site in the next few months. You'll be able to sign up and you get your products on our store. Obviously, we have the app that the farmers market have. We're not competing. You can be on both at the same time, right? And then we'll figure out sell your products, and you get the benefit of getting a bigger customer base than just the farm market on site. Obviously, we're starting out. We're not promising the moon today, tomorrow, but we really want to be involved as a grassroots effort and help everybody in the room, reach out more consumers and for the consumer to make better choices. Any questions, comments? Sure.
You just handling produce, or you handling the crafts?
So to start with, it will be groceries first. So it'll be all the groceries, all the produce. We'll have obviously the retailer that we get on our site as meat, poultry, etc. We'll do that. Craft eventually. I don't know when, but yeah, that's the plan to grow into other categories as well, not just the grocery market. Sure.
Yeah, so how's this different from Local Line or Red Barn or something that we could just start ourselves?
So here, basically what you do is you register with us, your product. We have an app for farmers. You sell your products. So for consumer, you tell us how much you have of certain items. And then it's on our site. So somebody grocery shops, they'll shop Walmart, they'll shop Hart, and then they'll see your produce as well. And they'll pick your produce, they'll pick whatever from Walmart they want, they'll pick whatever they want from Fresh Market, and we'll promote that local is better for you on our site. So you'll be able to be part of their basket. Where before they would have just shop at Fresh Market, they would have just at Walmart, and then it would have been done. And then a lot of the produce that are locally grown would have been excluded from the equation.
So what about as far as storage?
Question on the phone.
Keep it in storage, or do you have a distribution?
Yeah, first coming back to the first question, just imagine as Jerry said, Google. The shopper can find any kind of product sourced from local or national stores or from local farmer. This is number one. Second, that from all this huge amount of products, as a shopper, I don't want to lose my time. I need quick selection. This quick selection will be done by a machine based on different attributes and very simple grades. For example, if my value is to shop and source from locally, to select locally sourced products, naturally grown, organic, and as an example, keto diet, and with certain restrictions on my allergies, our machine, actually, as digital system, will help to select the products per my values. Again, if I would like to support locals, naturally grown, and packaging compostable or recyclable, it will be done even less than a second. This is number one. This is the first difference between available solutions today. Coming back to your question, we have our pickup point, which will be opened during all 6 days from Monday till Saturday, from 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. And the shopper can pick up any kind of goods sourced from, as Jerry said, from national chains or from locally sourced as well. In this respect, you're invited and welcome to deliver any order which you receive, and will be kept, and the shopper can collect all his baskets from all different sources in one order.
Yeah,
Question on the phone.
We have a question coming on
Sure.
the phone. What is the question?
Okay, so this is Luis and South Mamasi. So the question is, first, we couldn't catch the name of the company, the sponsor.
Oh yeah, so
And the
the
second,
name of the company is Angeli D2C. We're a food tech startup here in Northwest Arkansas.
okay. And then the second question is, you mentioned groceries and fresh produce and that. We have a specific line of products that we do, and we have, you mentioned, for instance, people hard to reach in Bella Vista places and things like that.
Correct.
Would it be possible to perhaps consider what are the products that we have, and perhaps that is an option for us too?
Yeah, so I mentioned produce because obviously the farmer produces a lot of produce. But if you have any specific product that match your values, that are organic, that have good, healthy product that are outside of the produce arena, yes, definitely. We'll be sourcing different products. So we've been working with the Food Conservancy in Springdale. They have products from local entrepreneurs that are trying to market their product. I'm assuming that's kind of what you're talking about, and we're working with them as well. So we want to branch out to all grocery items, not just produce. Anything that's locally grown, be it honey, be it whatever you're trying to make and you're trying to sell, and if it's a value, we'll be more than happy to look at it and determine if it's a fit.
Well, thank you. I think that may be a fit, so we'll look you up offline and perhaps.
Yeah, and you can always reach me, and then Stephanie can give you my number, and I can talk to you, and we can set up some time for sure.
Yeah, after this meeting's over, there's going to be a link, kind of like just like not a quiz, but just like a link for you to follow up on some of these points. And one of the questions is, do you want to be added to Angeli's email list so that they can have your contact information and they can be funneling this information directly to you?
Sure.
So,
Right.
Does anybody
Great.
have any
Thank you.
questions?
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Awesome.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Can we finish?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Andrew, can you move forward? We have just a few more slides. Yes, here. Yeah, and a few more things which how we can help you guys. Andrew, it's called Itaverse. Can you move forward to the next one? Just imagine that the best chef in France cooks a meal for you, and you can eat this meal here in Bentonville in same quality. You can eat it at any time, and you don't spend additional time to buy it. It's delivered just on your table. Next one, Andrew. It's done with the technology which we use now for ready-to-eat meals, which we are cooking here in Bentonville. The technology called crystal freezing, which allows to manage the size of crystals during the freezing process. Usually, the current freezing technology, what they do, they usually damage the product, especially the body, because the size of crystals is bigger than molecular, than cells. The technology we use here, which is innovative, we brought here in the US first, allows us to manage the size of crystal not bigger than cells, meaning not damaging the body of the product, which allows us to use it for ready-to-eat meals and keep 97% of all nutritions which are in ingredients. Same time allows us to keep with meals for more than 18 months, keeping the same quality as it was originally cooked. Next one. Andrew.
Next one.
Yes, and this gives us opportunity to create together with you additional values. Number one, in case you would have during the season the overstocks of harvested plants, veggies, fruits, meat, chickens, what can be done? We can use your ingredients, your products to produce the meals. These meals will be frozen and can be kept again for 18 months. And as soon as these meals are sold out to the shoppers and consumers, you get paid. Meaning, if in the past you lose your money and you generate the product waste, now you will get the opportunity to deliver your products to us. We cook it, we create the meals, we freeze it, and then we sell. This is opportunity number one. The opportunity number two is following. That, again, in case you have overproduced or you did not sell the products on time, and you have the risk to generate the product waste, we can freeze your products also and to keep it for 18 months and to sell it on our digital assistant app, Anjali, to the consumers during next 18 months. There are 3 groups of products which delivering different results. As an example, if we talk about chicken, beef, pork, and fish, the raw chicken or raw beef even improved during the freezing and then defrosting. The meat becoming is more tender, same time we can keep it for 18 months. Another group of products is like pepper, mushrooms, grape, blueberries, raspberries, fried eggs, cakes. The freezing technology we use allows us to keep about the same quality of the product after it would be defrosted. And there is a third group which is good for meals: tomatoes, strawberries, onions. Ideally, to use that products for ready-to-eat meals preparation. Meaning you're welcomed in case you have any issues during the season and overstocks. We are here to help you. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Anybody on the phone? Any comments, questions? All right.
Awesome.
Thank you guys very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I'm gonna go back to yelling. So when Jerry and Alex approached us about sponsoring the market, I think that what really stood out was their passion for local products, local food, and that their genuine interest in furthering your success. This freezing technology, they did a demo with me, and if any of you are interested in kind of more about the freezing technology, they would love to do a demo. I'm inviting you over to their office. But it was really fantastic. They did, they had a fresh strawberry and a frozen strawberry, and you couldn't tell the difference between which one was fresh and which one was frozen. The same with mushrooms. I'm pointing to Ashley, sorry. It was really cool just to see how this freezing technology, like Alex was saying, it freezes on the cellular level, and so it's able to retain all of its, or most of its water, where most of the time when you do freeze something, it loses a lot of that quality, but this technology is able to keep it and retain it, which is really cool. I think that this partnership with the farmers market, it's only going to push both forward. We want to be good partners to Angeli, but I know Angeli really wants to be good partners for us. Like I said, at the end, there's going to be a follow-up form. That's the word I was looking for, follow-up form. And so if you are interested in being on their distribution list and learning more about them and what they can offer, just make sure to sign up for that. But yeah, so we're really excited about them partnering with the market. They're going to have the frozen ready to eat meals, hopefully available at some point, and selling them at the market. And their desire is that those products be sourced from you guys, from the farmers. So yeah, next slide, please. Awesome. So this is, can you do it full screen, Andrew? Oh, sorry, that's my bad.
It looks like it is on my end, Steph. Is it full screen?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just didn't have my cursor on it.
Okay.
So these are our year-over-year weekly sales for the past 3 years. So the 2021 last year is in yellow, and this is where we get to brag on ourselves. And we did 1.2 million in sales last year, you guys. That is freaking incredible. We were so close to 1.3 million. Like, that is absolutely insane. So that is 100% increase in sales from 2020. So from the previous year, we doubled our sales. We had a 54% increase, 54% increase compared to 2019. And 2019 was a banner year for our market where we beat all past sales records, and we just blew 2019 out of the water completely. We had 24 weeks this past season where we beat past year sales records. So basically that means like every week we were killing it, which is absolutely fantastic. In 2019, we had a record week where we sold 42,388 worth of products, and we beat that record 17 times this past season. So our new best sales week record is $57,710. That is incredible. I think that what this says is that we're awesome. Obviously we have people, we have farmers, we have crafters, we have vendors who are really passionate about their products, who are bringing the highest quality to the market. And we have a community who loves us and supports us. And that is just incredible. I wanted to highlight week 27. Thank you, Andrew. That was the week where we got moved from the square because of the half marathon. And I wanted to, okay, you can stop. I wanted to point that out, that was actually, is still a really good week. Like, I know that last season was absolutely bananas, but that week we still beat 2020 and 2019 sales records. And we obviously did a lot better than the previous week, which I'm guessing was a modified market where we had storms. So also what that says is that when, other things happen that are outside of our control, like our community still shows up and they still support us. So we should feel really, really proud of basically all of last year. And even that week where I know that was kind of a week where we really didn't know what to expect. And it was great to see how many people in the community came out and supported us. And Andrew was there that Saturday, and we had a lot of people come up to us and they were just like, we love the market here. Like, this is the coolest parking lot in downtown Bentonville. We got a lot of compliments, and there were a lot of people who weren't local. Like, they were just visiting in town and they were walking past and saw the farmers market, and they gave us a lot of compliments, which we were not expecting. So.
Stephanie, do you want to mention that we also did a shop the block that weekend?
Oh, yes. We also had a shop the block where we passed out $2,500 worth of free money for people to spend at the market. And what was the question in the room? What was that record? 57,000. I'm guessing it's this one, which was just peak summer. I don't think there was anything super special going on. It was just probably a beautiful day.
That's probably around July, or I'm trying to think, April, May, June, July. That would be around end of July, beginning of August, it looks like.
Yeah, so peak summer.
Yeah.
Next slide, please. So this year we also did an off-season market, market at record. As much as I would have loved some time off, we just kept on rolling with events. Honestly, to be completely transparent, I was really worried to do an off-season farmers market just because it's out of the norm, it's cold, and we didn't have a playbook and we didn't really know what to expect. I talked to other local markets who have done off-season events, and they encouraged us not to pursue doing an event. And I am happy to say that I was wrong and that they were wrong, and that we had a really great turnout for the market at record. We did 11 weeks. We rotated vendors. We had special activities. And we did have an estimated average of $6,000, $300 a week. And I know that that number might seem low, but this was our first year doing it. And that's just an average. And we don't have all of our commissions or all of our sales numbers reported yet. We're still waiting on some vendors to report their sales. So that number is actually going to be a little bit higher. So like to have an expectation that I was really scared, like I didn't know if people were going to show up. We actually had repeat customers, people who were coming back every week. And the community was really thankful that there was something going on in the off season. And so I'm really excited about this for next season, because I think this is an event that we can continue to grow on. And now that we kind of know what we're doing and we have a playbook, like we can just continue to grow this event.
If I can say something real quick, Steph, if everybody can hear me, the numbers are a little kind of deceiving. Prior to Christmas, it easily was, $10,000, $12,000, $15,000 coming in on those Saturdays that we did before the holidays. So we have to figure out ways that we can activate and do special things that bring people over to that space. The weekends that we did do special things like Valentine's Day and pre-holiday, we saw significant increases. So we're very open to suggestions and ideas on how we can make every Saturday special and have almost like a different theme so that we can see those pre-holiday crowds be sustained through the entire time.
Yeah, and I think that it's fair to say that, January and February, like those are typically slow months for all retail. But to have people who were willing to come out and specifically shop an event that they didn't need to come out and shop at, I think that that's a really good sign that the community still wants something like this and will support something like this. Next slide, please. So this was our farmers market map last year. So we kept with the 10 feet of social distancing. And the reason that we did that is just because COVID was still being all weird and we didn't know if they were going to lock down on us again or make changes. And so I just wanted to be prepared. So we are actually going to decrease the space in between tents this year to 5 feet. I got a lot of feedback from you guys saying that you liked having that extra space. I think it made for an easier setup and tear down. Just the transition was a lot easier because we weren't fighting each other for the same space. So this is what the map looks like this year. So some of the numbers are different from what they have been in the past. So if I send you your location and you're like, oh no, normally I'm in another spot, just check the map because it's more than likely just renumbered. Double booths have been approved. I just haven't reflected them on the map because the 5 feet just makes it wonky. I feel like I've created a lot of extra work on myself, creating this map and adding in that extra space. But again, like we're just gonna see how this year goes. And if you like having that extra wiggle room, I feel like it makes it easier too if a car somehow parks in, that we have that built-in space where that's not gonna completely throw us off. So yeah, I am totally open to feedback for next year. If we like how this goes, we can keep this, or if we want to go back to just packing everybody in on the square, I'm down for that too. So if you do have a double booth, I will send you a map that clearly shows where your double booth is. Just be flexible with us during setup and teardown, because things are just going to be a little weird with double booths. That creates a little bit more space. We are going to be marking spaces again this year, but I do want you guys to know that First Friday is following a completely different map. So you might see markings that you're like, I don't know what these are. And I know that you guys who set up in the same spot, you kind of memorize your surroundings. You're like, there's a crack in the cement right here. And I put my first tent stake 2 inches away from that crack. And that's great. Just know that if Sydney or Ashley or myself comes along and says, hey, I really need you to move over a couple of inches, that's just because we're trying to make space and we're trying to make everything work and flow. So I just want to be clear and be upfront that that might be kind of an issue this year, because if you're following a First Friday marking and we're following a farmer's market mark on the ground, just know that things might get weird. Also on A Street on Northeast A, this is the only side where we still have 10 feet in between tents, just because there are those metal stanchions. So this was a side of the street that we just couldn't do 5 feet in between. And if you're on this side of A Street, you normally follow those metal stanchions because they're 10 feet apart. You're not going to be following those this year. So you're going to be following marks on the ground. And if you are a vendor who normally sets up on Central, for the past 2 years, you've had the luxury of being able to park your car right next to your tent. That will not be the case this year. So if you are normally a vendor who is setting up or are going to be setting up on Central, just know that that is a change. And again, that was just 2 years of you guys being pampered because of COVID. That's a weird thing to say, so just scratch that from the record. Getting a somehow pleasant kickback from the changes made, where you could park your car. That's no longer the case. We also are adding a art market to the farmer's market. Next slide, please. And that is going to take place on Main Street, right outside our office. So our DBI office is right here. If you are in the room, we are currently in this corner of the square. Sorry, if you're trying to figure out where you are. So basically what this means for you guys is you can't park on Main Street because we are going to be hosting an art market. So if you are normally somebody who parks right next to the DBI office, you'll be parking in an artist spot and they won't like it. And so don't do that. If you also, next slide, please. This is an aerial map of the square. Can you hit the button again? Hit this. Oh, okay, hit it again. So that very large red line is where the art market is going to be. So here's the square, there's the art market. Also on 2nd Street, normally we stop at the entrance to the parking garage and vendors park their cars here. This was something that came down through the board where they wanted a place for us to specifically put vendors who want to use the space to advertise. So we're creating a section of our market that's basically information alley. And that's going to be on that second half of 2nd Street. So how this pertains to you is that you just can't park there. There are plenty of public parking spaces, especially at 6 o'clock in the morning. You'll be able to find parking that's very close to the square. We're just asking that you don't park inside the new footprint on 2nd Street and where the art market is. Does anybody have any questions? I promised that I was going to stop and pause and for questions, and I haven't yet.
Hey, Stephanie, will you be sending this recording out to everyone as well as the handouts or as well as the presentation deck?
Yes, we will. But you have to, I don't know. No, I take bribes. No. All of this information will be given out after the meeting. Well, or once I figure out how to upload this video to YouTube, which might take a minute.
Stephanie, I think we should mention that last year we did run into quite a few protesters and free speech individuals who showed up to the market. And one of our goals is to have a spot for them where they can kind of, collect petition signatures if they want. They could protest or rally. And that's what this section on 2nd Street is hopefully going to assist with that. Our plan is to activate the entire square with family activities. So that's not going to necessarily be available to them. And we're hoping to kind of move them into a new kind of designated area on 2nd Street. And we'll see how that works out.
Yeah, there were some issues that came up while I was gone on maternity leave. And so this was our solution, that we have a specific place set aside and designated for people who are looking to advertise or wanting to collect signatures and all that. Next slide, please. All right, so here's the fun part: fees and commissions. So it shouldn't be a surprise that the market fees are $15 a day. And that they need to be paid before the season or session begins. There is a 15% discount, and it says in the guidelines that you get that discount if you pay before or at the market meeting. And we're basically going to extend that until April 8th. So if you want to get that 15% discount for paying in full, just make sure that that invoice is paid April 8th. All those invoices have gone out. If you have not gotten your invoice, please let me know and we will send you that link. I know sometimes they go to spam or they come from QuickBooks or finance at downtown Bentonville. So it just might be an email address that you're not familiar with. We are changing our commission structure so that if you have an average price point of $50 or less, your commission rate stays the same. It stays at 5%. But if you have an average price point of $51 or more, your commission rate is going to be 10% of your weekly sales. If you go to the next slide. So there was some confusion over what your average price point is. At the Market at Record, we instituted this and we had some people think that it meant if your sales for that week was over $50, then you paid 10%. That is not the case. It has to do with what your price point is for your products. So if you look at everything that you're selling and you average out what the prices across all those different product lines, that is your average price point. So the reason that we're instituting this is because we're trying to merge or trying to streamline our farmers market with the art market. So just that way it makes it easier for us and also for the artists. So for example, an artist is going to have a really high price point if they're selling paintings for $3,000 a painting. They might go a couple weeks with not selling anything and then 1 week sell like 5 paintings. And so we're just trying to average out that commission rate. If you are regular farmers market vendor and this affects you, please reach out to me. And if you have any questions, any concerns, just talk to me. Andrew and I we're always open to feedback, and we're always open to working with vendors. So yeah, we just wanted to let you guys know of that change. And for 90% of you, this doesn't affect you, but for that small percent of farmers market vendors that it does, if you have any issues with it, just talk to me and Andrew, and we'd be happy to discuss this with you. Next slide. I don't know why I'm using the microphone for that. Okay, so fees and commission compliance continued. So basically your commission payments are due before the next market date, and those commission payments are to be paid weekly. We had some trouble last year collecting those commissions, and so not from a majority, but this is in the guidelines, and so I wanted it to be really clear that if you are more than 3 weeks behind on collecting on submitting your commission payments, and there hasn't been contact with me or an attempt made, your participation can be placed on hold until those commission payments are up to date. So this is something that Andrew is really wanting me to enforce. I am not that great at an enforcer, but this is something that we do need to tighten up on. We have board meetings monthly where we do go over our farmers market sales, and we just want to make sure that we are reporting and updating our board with the most current numbers, just because our board does make decisions that affect our farmers market, and so we want to make sure that we're giving them the best and on-time information. So
I'll also add, Steph, if I can, if we do really exceptionally well, we'll try to do some more of those giveaways. And sometimes we don't know how well we're doing for a month or two because commissions are rolling in late. One reason why we were able to do one of the Shop the Block events last year was because we won that contest. We won a national contest for our farmers market, and we won a cash prize. And we decided to reinvest that cash prize back into the farmers market, and we did that giveaway. When we're making decisions about marketing and trying to do things to get more people at the market, it's really a lot easier for us to make the decisions if we have an accurate count of what our sales are.
Right.
And just, Louise, if I may ask a quick question.
Yeah, go for it.
Is there anything that may be available? Maybe we haven't found that, or maybe it's not available. A way that when we pay, or the thing that we're missing is somehow visible to us, so that we can say, oh, okay, so I'm missing this week or that week, and then just go and pay as a status type of link or something that we may have, so that we can place ourselves accountable for keeping up to date.
Right. So there's no automated way for us to send you where you're at.
Stephanie, what if we created a shared document and we could edit it and just put an X in the weeks that we received the information?
Can you repeat that one more time?
What if we created a shared document that listed all the vendors, and every week, and when we receive their information, we put an X in it, and when we don't have the information, it's open, and anybody can access that to view?
That would be great, because that way, it's on us to, be responsible for that. But then we have information. If for some reason we missed it or something, we can always go back and just look it up and be current on that.
That's something we can definitely discuss.
Yeah, it's something that we can look into. I would just recommend that it becomes a part of your tear down routine, that is before you pull off on the square, you can just log in real quick and make that payment. Or if you have like a timer on your phone, you can set an alarm on Monday morning that just says, hey, remember to pay your farmer's market commissions. You can always email me. You're never going to bug me if you say, hey, like, let me know what weeks I haven't paid. I'm more than happy to send that to you, but there's no automatic way to do that. We would have to manually, like Andrew said, create some sort of shared Google document or manually send you the dates that you're missing. Oh no, my computer is gonna die. And like I said, we're definitely open to exploring those, but I would just recommend that it becomes a part of your tear down routine. Or yeah. I have a question from the room.
Would there be an option to do it in person?
An option to pay in person?
Yeah, like that way you get it.
Like at craft shows, you drop it off with your information. Right. So hold on one second. I'm gonna plug in my computer
Just to
before it
kinda
dies.
get it out of the way in that moment.
Oh man. Oh, good. Okay. So the question in the room was, is there a way to pay in person at the market? So before my time, I joined in 2019. The way that vendors did pay is that you came up to the DBI booth and you dropped off cash. And the reason that we moved away from that was just because there was a long line of vendors and the employee at the time didn't want to count all that cash. But you are always more than welcome to pop into our office before you leave. And you can fill out that form. If you want to pay cash, you can. If you want to pay, we have a couple vendors who do pay by check. And all of that is totally okay. But the reason we came up with this online payment form was just because the paying in person process added a lot of time to the tear down routine. At least that was the feedback that we got.
Stephanie, do you think it might be worth doing a survey of the vendors to see how many would prefer one or the other? I mean, we really, it is very labor intensive on our side, and we used to have more staff at the time to be able to count everybody's commission. You know, if a handful of you would be more interested in doing that, we can accommodate that. But if it ends up coming in like 60 or 70 or 80% of the vendors, then we may need to look at some alternatives.
Yeah, I feel like when we instituted this change, the feedback that we got was that it was really helpful because people could just pack up and go rather than wait in a line at the DBI office or the DBI tent. But if that is what we want to go back to, that's okay. I think what we want to avoid is that 50% of the vendors pay online, 50% pay by cash, and then that makes it difficult on our end to organize and chase the cash. But if there are vendors who do pay by check and vendors who pay by cash, and it's totally okay to pay how it makes the most sense to you guys. Are there any other questions or comments about that? Cool. So last year at our final market, we did an event called POP, which it's an acronym for the power of produce. And what this was is that we got like a stipend from the Double Your Dollar program, where we could give kids $2 coupons to go spend on produce. And then we did a really cute activity where the kids had a scavenger hunt, and they were able to walk around the square and do this little activity and then come back, and they were able to also pick out a vegetable, which is why all these vegetables are in the picture. And this was a really, really fun event for everybody involved. It was also Halloween, and so I was nervous that there was going to be a conflict of interest with vendors passing out candy and then also passing out coupons to spend on vegetables. But the kids really embraced it and they really enjoyed it. And the whole point of farmers markets in general is to get local food in the hands of local people. And this program really does that by empowering kids to make healthy decisions and to empower the kids to go out and buy vegetables and try new things. So we want to do this program for this year. Next slide. So we are asking the grantee, for the people who have all the double your dollars, we're asking for more so that we can do this program again. Like I said, it empowers kids to buy fruits and vegetables. It works like double your dollar, but only for fruits and vegetables. So if you are selling a consumable, like an edible product, but it's not fruits and vegetables, unfortunately, you can't accept these. But if you are a farmer who sells produce, I would really love it if we could embrace this. And you can create specials. So if you know that you have a ton of cucumbers for that day, you can create a pop special and have your normal amount of cucumbers on sale for the $2 coupon. Also, I think we had A&A Orchard, the kids came and they wanted to use their $2 coupons on apples, and they just portioned out their product accordingly. So the kids got 2 apples for the $2 coupon. So this is going to be a really, really fun program, and we want our farmers to be involved as possible. So this logo is something that I created, and this will be kind of like your special. So if you want one of these laminated so that you can have at your booth saying that you're going to have whatever vegetable you have a lot of, or whatever vegetable you want to highlight on sale for the POP program, you can get one of these. I want to create, again, I love creating work for myself. I want to design these passports for kids where all of the options for fruits and vegetables are listed. And every time that they try something new, they get a stamp. So when they buy $2 worth of green beans, they get their green bean stamp, or $2 worth of radishes, they get a stamp for radishes. And so again, the purpose is to empower kids to try foods that they're not normally trying. Other farmers markets who do this program, they have something called the 2 Bite Club, which is where they encourage kids to try the vegetables on site. But because of health code restrictions, we can't do that in Bentonville. So this passport is kind of a way around that, where we're encouraging the kids to buy that vegetable to then try at home. So, yep, next slide. Here are our sessions. These are also in the guidelines. But I wanted you guys to be aware of on October 22nd. So like the marathon last year, we have another large event that is coming to Northwest Arkansas. The good news is that they are not pushing us from the square. They want to share the square. So we are sharing the same space with this large gravel ride that is coming to Northwest Arkansas. So just be prepared for a new map and new locations. They are unsure of what their footprint will look like right now. So we are not able to tell you exactly how this is going to look and how this is going to operate. But since we will still be downtown on the square, I don't think that this will affect us greatly. However, you will most likely have a new location for that one date. Andrew, do you have anything to say about this event?
No, it's a big race. It's one of the biggest races in the world, actually. It has over $250,000 in prize money. So we're going to see some of the largest names in gravel racing come. It'll be nationally and internationally televised. And primarily they're going to be coming down Main Street, and Main Street is going to be their finish line. So I can see that the market will probably be on the right-hand side of the square, and then they'll probably activate kind of the left-hand side of the square. It will attract about 2,000 extra people to the square that day. So hopefully we'll see increased sales across the board. And we'll keep you, updated on information as we receive it.
So if you want the chance to win $250,000, you have until October 22nd to train for this gravel ride. All right, next slide. Our Facebook group, yay. So this is something that we're trying new. We always want to try something new and see how it works and if it sticks. So we wanted to create a Facebook group where you guys can post and share what you will have at the farmer's market. This is not to replace any of our current marketing or what we do currently through our social media channels. This is just another place for you to put your information, so it's in one spot. So if you are like our blueberry vendor and you want to announce that you're going to be at the farmer's market, you can do that at this group. It's public group, so it's open to anyone. But if you are a crafter and you're launching a new product that you want to advertise, you can put that here. Basically, it's yours. It's vendors. It's yours to use. We do have approval settings on it. So when you want to post something, I have to approve it. And the only reason that we're doing that is just because it is a public group. Other people can post on it, and we don't want it to get cluttered with people being like, what are the times of the farmer's market? Or people asking questions that aren't necessarily, we don't want that taking up space on the home feed, on the home page. So this is, again, yours to use. If you're interested in it, I will add you as a member, and then you can start posting your stuff on it. And like I said, it's not replacing any of our other social media. So if you tag us in your Instagram stories, we're still going to repost those. This is just another avenue for you guys to promote your products. And then we are also going to use this platform and say, and post on our Instagram and our Facebook and saying like, hey, are you making the Bentonville Farmers Market a part of your weekend? Check out this Facebook group for what's going to be available. Next slide. Yes. Okay. So something that a couple vendors asked about were potential performance reviews. So this is something that is going to be optional for this past season. So really what I envision this being is just a conversation. Oh, I'm sorry, Natalia. You asked only vendors can see it or customers too. Yeah, customers can see it. So that Facebook group is open to the public. So you're not just promoting to each other, you're promoting to the general public, but you all have the opportunity to post there. Okay, so performance reviews. Honestly, the thought or the inspiration behind this is just so we can have a one-on-one conversation about your sales if you want to have that. I think that it's really important that you as a vendor know what your year-over-year growth is personally as a vendor. But also some people have expressed interest in knowing how they're doing within their own category. So if you are a soap vendor, you might want to know how your product is selling up against the other options in that category. And so that's something that I'm willing to put together for you. These are internal reviews, so it's not like everybody's going to know or have access to that information. This is just a conversation that you and I can have. But I don't think it's fair for, a 2-acre farm to be comparing their sales to a 20-acre farm. That's not what the purpose of this is. Honestly, you should be, I don't want to create any unhealthy competition, or I don't want it to be like, well, I'm number 1 and you're number 2. No, I don't want any of that. I just want this to be a tool that you can use to know where you are currently at the farmer's market, like, with your sales and open up a conversation about how do we grow? How do we grow your sales? How can we market you better? So if you are interested in that for this past year, you'll be kind of like my guinea pigs in figuring out how the best way to go about this is. So on that feedback form, you'll have the option to opt in for 2021. Yep. I don't really want to go over the attendance policy because I feel like I do this every year. So basically, I just want to highlight a couple things. If you are a new vendor, this is in the guidelines. So if you haven't read over it, please read over the guidelines. There's lots of things that you can find out about the farmers market in that document. And the attendance policy is one of those. So basically, a no-call, no-show is not good. If you are not going to be at a farmer's market, you need to let me know at least 48 hours ahead of time. If it's an emergency situation, totally okay, things happen. But if you're not going to be there, please email me in a new email. I have a lot of people who go to the last email that I've sent them and then reply to it and just say, hey, I'm not going to be there on May 6th. And that email gets lost in that email chain. So in order for my record keeping so that I don't go after you and say, hey, we're missing a commission payment from May 6th. And you're like, I wasn't there. Just email me in a new email, letting me know that you're not going to be there. Next slide. Modified markets. So last year we actually had bad weather for the farmers market, and that's kind of crazy that we still hit over 1.2 million, even though we had like 7 modified markets. So a modified market is when, if the weather predictions are calling for bad weather, we leave it up to you if you want to attend or not. We try to make that call by 4 p.m. on a Friday. It's really tricky because the weather constantly changes all the time. And I feel like if you are a veteran vendor, you understand that better than anybody, that on 4 p.m. on a Friday, it's 100% chance of thunderstorms. And then even by 6 p.m. on a Friday, it's like 30%. And then Saturday morning, it's gorgeous. So when we call modified markets, it's a really, really good idea to make the decision if you're not going to attend in the morning, just because the weather changes overnight pretty consistently. Also, if you are going to call out, you please let us know, because the way that the modified markets pretty much work is that if you call out, we want to fill your spot so there's not a huge hole. So we pull vendors from 2nd Street. We might even pull artists off of Main Street, and we'll fill those spots. So that way we're not having vendors just off on corners where there's nobody else. So if you are not going to attend on a modified market, you need to let me know. You can email me, you can call me, you can text that number that I posted earlier. That Google number, Sydney also has access to that number. So if you call or text it at 5 o'clock in the morning and I'm not there, she will get that message. Next slide. Don't show up late, essentially. If you are required to be in your spot ready to sell by 7:20, so don't be late. Just don't do it, because if you're late, that means that you might not have access to your spot. We don't allow cars in the market footprint past 7:15. If you do show up late because your alarm didn't go off or you got a flat tire, that doesn't mean that you can't participate in the market. It just means that you might have to load in your stuff from outside of the road closures. So if you're late, I'm not saying that you can't participate. It just means that setting up might be a little bit more difficult. And if you are consistently late, we are going to have a problem. Not a big problem. We're going to have a conversation. So also, if you are a vendor who you hire employees to work your booth, please make sure that your employees are well versed in all these guidelines, just because they are your representative at the market. And so they need to know what the guidelines say about showing up late or how to unload. We have had some issues with employees just not knowing anything. So please make sure that your employees are well versed. You can send them this presentation, you can send them this video. None of this stuff is confidential or anything. Please share it with the people who work for you. Next slide. Here are the double your dollar dollars. If you sell food or anything that can be consumed that is edible, you are allowed to accept, double your dollars. And these are what they look like. We have other supplemental income programs where other agencies will send out money. There's WIC, which is Women, Infants, and Children, and then there's the Senior Farmers Market Nutritional Program. And those coupons do not look like this. They look very different, and you have to fill out an application in order to accept those. I have it on your application if you selected that you are interested in accepting those, and I'll make sure you get the applications. But essentially, if there is a coupon that you don't recognize, I would recommend not accepting it, just because we might not be able to reimburse you. So the Bentonville Farmers Market, Sydney, myself, Michelle, we reimburse these green tokens, the green coupons and the little plastic tokens for cash at the market. Other coupons, you have to mail those in to those programs. So every year we get somebody who comes up with a stack of a different coupon and they're like, can this get reimbursed? And the answer is no, because we are not the middle person for that money. But for SNAP and EBT, we are. Next slide. That's it. Congratulations, you made it to the end of our meeting. This is the form. If you are in the room, you can use your phone and scan it. Also, this will get emailed out. This is the feedback form or the follow-up form where there were some action items that I need to get your response from. Also, it is 8 minutes to 8, so I did great. Thank you, Nancy. Does anybody have any last minute questions? If you
Hi.
don't, oh,
Sorry. Hi, this is Angela. I am spanking brand new to all of this. I have chickens and thought it would be a good idea to sell eggs. And I'm really, kind of in the dark a little bit, but was curious about how the app works. I saw that was an option, and so I was curious if you could walk me through that.
yeah. So we do have our online farmers market, and that is year round. There's a really simple app, sign up instructions that I can definitely send you. We do kind of reserve the app for our farmers market vendors. We don't want to fill it with a bunch of people who are trying to sell items who are not invested in our market. But yeah, it's pretty simple. You just create a profile, and then we do drop off and pick up on Thursdays, and I can send you all that information. I know that a lot of, once the application went out, I asked what markets you're interested in. And so I haven't been able to follow up with all the vendors who are interested in the online farmers market. Since adding the market at record, the farmers market, the online market, the Thursday physical market, and we're planning 3 farm dinners this year.
Wow.
I've been on tilt.
Yeah.
So there's a few things that I still need to follow up on.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing to mention, that if I have been absent on responding to emails, I am sorry. You are never going to annoy me if you keep emailing me the same thing over and over again. Please do that, especially if you are not able to get a hold of me. I try to be as responsive as possible. But yeah, getting through this week, it's like a marathon. So, but yeah, that's to everybody too. Please just keep contacting me if you have a question and you haven't heard from me.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, of course. We're excited to have you. Thank you for being here, Angela. What was the link to Nancy, I'll see if I can send it in this chat. Oh, I'll email it out to you. Great. All right. Are there any other questions? I'll stick around in case if anybody needs to corner me and doesn't want to present their question to the group. But everybody, thank you so much for being here. I know that a Tuesday evening, you're all probably really hungry and wanting to go home. But thank you so much for taking the time.
Be in the second session, the 18th.
Okay.
When do I need to pay my money to get the discount?